It's all good, baby. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Can't call it. Um, how about you, man? How are you doing? I appreciate you joining me, man. I think this is the first time we do a show together. Oh, aside from the live one we did, we got
Right,
soccer.
just us two. Yeah, this is the first one. Happy to be here in Noodle Time. Chop it up with Marquinho
I
on
appreciate
this
you, Papa.
Memorial Day weekend, holiday weekend.
Oh
Getting
man,
ready
I
for the holiday.
for sure, man. I couldn't. I need a long weekend. I need a long weekend. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of work stuff. Um, World Cup coming soon. A lot of stuff at work going on. A lot of activations about to get started and stuff like that. So I'm kind of happy for this long weekend. But with that being said, man, Herman, let's talk Dynamo, Papa.
Let's do it, baby.
The last home game before the World Cup break, Dynamo versus the top seeded Vancouver Whitecaps of the Western Conference. Dynamo come out with a surprising 1-0 win against last year's MLS finalist. A goal by Yerme. Are we surprised?
Not at all.
um, that Whitecaps went down to 10 men. Their goalkeeper came out the box and fouled Yerme, thus causing the red card, giving the advantage to the Dynamo, and they took full advantage of it, man. Your thoughts on the game? Where did you watch it? Did you go live to the stadium? And your thoughts on Yerme's goal?
Yeah, man. So I am the beat reporter for Foxtrot Media for Dynamo. So 9 times out of 10, you'll find me at the stadium on game day. Um, so I was at the stadium for this one, and it was a roller coaster of emotions, man, because there was goals disallowed from Vancouver.
Yeah,
So you think you're going to halftime down one, and then thankfully it's not as tragic as it looked, but the injury sustained right before the half, right? We can talk about that too, and then uh, looking for the red card, playing with one man up. The Dynamo aren't used to that.
I know a little bit of reverse of fortunes there.
Right. And then, like you said, are we surprised? Guillermo is the one constantly looking, searching for a goal. So no, I'm not surprised, and I'm glad that he found it. I think he got a little help from the goalkeeper, but hey, it is what it is. You take advantage of the situation, and luck favors those who go look for it.
For sure, for
Um,
sure.
so, good job maintaining a clean sheet. Agustin Rech is one of the bright spots of this first half of the season. Um, huge, huge win for the team for sure, bro.
Yeah, I mean, obviously to beat a team like the Vancouver Whitecaps, who undoubtedly are one of the top picks to lift MLS Cup this season. They have a complete team. They have goal scorers galore. They have a big name and a veteran name in Thomas Mueller, who obviously knows how to win and obviously is a true leader of men. And he's one of those DPs that the Dynamo have been looking for that is coming here to be serious and not just fuck around or just joke around. Uh,
Right.
and Vancouver found that. So that's one of the things that kind of annoy me sometimes with this process of trying to find a DP or a face of a franchise for us, right? Because a Vancouver team that literally next season might not be in Vancouver, depending on their situation, is able to make an investment on such a huge name and player like that, and you can see where it's propelled them to, and kudos to that ownership group and that front office to be able to make that happen, and obviously build around him and have a team already stabilized before he even got there. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, man, Guillermo, I mean, Guillermo is he's just a bright side, a bright spot, along with Agustin Rech, obviously being a true rookie, a third round pick in this last year's super draft to come in and basically take over for Lucas Halter, who we thought was going to be one of our primary center backs. He's basically come in and said, if I'm going to be given the opportunity, I might as well take full advantage of it. And he's done that, man. So I can't do nothing but have a round of applause for the young man. he's a big dude, man. 6'5", 6'6",
Six,
big,
yeah.
big dude, man. So I'm glad that we have him, and I'm glad that he's been able to take full advantage of his opportunities. I think that's gonna do us well as far as longevity wise as well, and maybe with questions for going into the next offseason as far as you know do we bring back the older players that we have in the back, where we might not need them as much as we thought we needed them, going forward.
Yeah.
Speaking of Guillermo, obviously we know that MLS All Star voting has come, and I'm not sure when it ends. I think it ends before the World Cup starts or whatever, if I'm not mistaken. If you know, let me know.
I'm gonna look it up because I thought it ended like either today or tomorrow.
Yeah. So
I could be
obviously,
wrong.
yeah, obviously we talking about Guillermo, and obviously he's been our offensive juggernaut to start this season off. 7 goals and 5 assists to his name and his MLS career. To start off with the Dynamo, and it may be our only really real possible shot of having an MLS representative in the All Star game. What do you think his chances are to actually be in the All Star game, or maybe even be in the starting 11 against Liga MX?
Ah man, I pray to God that he makes the starting 11. He should be an all-star. I'll start off by saying that. He's up there in the league score leaders in goals. But just watching him play, you can see he's very dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
He's a game changer. Uh, I don't know if he'll make the starting 11 because it's an attacking league, right? You you
Yeah,
you got you got options.
options
um,
galore. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, options galore in the front. So, but he definitely should make the team. Uh, I am voting him in my ballot. um, Alongside, I think maybe one way we could sneak in a Dynamo player, and I'm using this platform as a all right, Dynamo fans, let's get an Ali in, but as
Yeah.
left back,
Mm.
because that's a more realistic possibility than as a left winger. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
That's I mean that just goes to show the versatility of Inali, and the fact that he was open minded to doing something that he has never done before.
hmm
Obviously we see it all across the European leagues and stuff like that. And one that I can remember right off the top of my head is like Buyako Saka. When he first started with Arsenal, he was a left back. Alfonso Davies with the Whitecaps, he was a left back before he started, moving up top and playing left wing for Canada national team and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not something that's not never been done before, but obviously it's something that where when you have a player who's offensively talented like an Anali, and who has the speed and has the drive and has the will to want to go 1v1 against defenders. You want to utilize that person in an offensive position, but to have him in a defensive position obviously can help you out in a lot of different ways as well. And he's like he's open to the fact because it's obviously given him a lot more minutes in the starting 11, giving him a different opportunity, different looks, and obviously playing behind our current MVP and Guillermo, and has helped him out a lot as far as opening spaces for him and allowing him to be able to dribble and to be free in the midfield. So I like the fact I like what I've seen from Anali so far in this first half of the season, I guess, quote unquote. Um,
for sure.
let's talk about Samasaku, man. Obviously, an unfortunate injury for him. Obviously, a little bit of a pause there in the game that at the moment we didn't know what the injury was, but I mean, obviously he was down for a minute, So and shout out to him. Hopefully, he's doing good and all that good stuff. I heard that he's out of the hospital now, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Yes, sir.
and your thoughts on Samasaku, and then obviously he plays a position where, fortunately for the Dynamo, we have a lot of depth in that position as far as defensive mid goes. So I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Chikis came in and he did a job for us, but just on Samasaku, and obviously I think, in my opinion, and I don't know if I'm incorrect in saying this, he might be like my top three as far as like Dynamo players this season.
100%. It's like we can argue there's four, but Guillermo, Agustin, and I would even put Samaseku in there, because I feel like he plays. Yes, you can label him as a defensive, but to me, when Arthur came back, he flourished even more because he could be more of a box to box, and he allowed either Hector Herrera or Jack McGlynn to go up further up the pitch like we want them to. So to me, he's an unsung hero for this season to start the season.
Yeah,
For sure.
I think he's that defensive mid where obviously when you're playing alongside Hector or Jack, you want those two to have more freedom on the offensive side of the ball, and where Samaseko doesn't mind taking the abundance of defensive activity that needs to be taken, because of them going up while he pushes back. So obviously you need a balance in that back end, and I think Samasaku has really done a great job with that and taking that initiative as far as like really focusing on the defensive side of the ball and being that point of the arrow for our defense. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about this game? Obviously, it was a big win against the top team in the Western Conference, the last game before the World Cup break. But I mean, is there anything else you want to touch on or talk about before we move on?
I think we're good for this game. We touched on the highlights. I mean, one thing you can kind of criticize is not criticize. It's just people need to understand the type of team we are. We had one man up in the second half, and yet we were counterattacking.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where I think the coaching philosophy is different, right? I think the coaching philosophy for Vancouver is regardless if they were a man back, they know they're on the road and they have to go and go get the game if they want to get points, right?
Yeah.
So with that mentality, it's them against the stadium, right? So for them, it's like, hey, yeah, we can settle. I think the difference between them and us is where if we would have lost the game, the guy parked the bus. Let's try to get this point. Whereas for them, obviously them being on top of the table and being points ahead of other teams helps in a way as well. But for them, it's like, you know what? We're down here. We're basically playing even though we're down a men. Let's go get this game. Let's go see if we can go win this game and steal this game away from the home team. And that's what they did, basically. I mean, they were still, to be honest, even with the man down, I didn't see them slowing down. They went after the game and they tried to see if they can steal the game and steal 3 points, and they did it. And it's okay. I mean, I think that just shows the difference in philosophy as far as a attack-minded team as opposed to where us, the Dynamo, we're like so focused on like, nah, let's make sure that we get this point because every point is vital.
Right. Yeah, and I just wish we had that philosophy. I mean, it makes sense what you're saying. I wish we were aggressor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think there's situations where being aggressive is okay, and there's situations where okay, I need to park the bus right now, which I understand, but like, and I think for us, the Dynamo, and what I've seen this season, because obviously we've had so many reds in games, so we've been down them in a lot in this season, where obviously it seems like 100% of the time we're gonna go park the bus, and that's unfortunate. Yeah,
and I also got a date for you, which is honestly, this is as soon as we hang up, I'm gonna go make my boats. It ends tonight at 11
p.m. Does it? Okay. I might have to get on there and go shoot a vote out for them as well.
But this is ridiculous from MLS because they opened it on the 13th of this month, and they closed the voting 8 days later.
When is the MLS All-Star game this season?
Bro, at the end of July 29.
Wow, that's crazy. I would think you would leave it open until the last game of the season at least.
That's what I'm saying.
But MLS, we don't know. Sometimes they just play by the flute of their own horn. So they do what they need to do. But again, it was a good showing. It puts us currently in 6th place on the Western Conference table, which obviously that's great for us. We're not in that play-in positioning, whatever. So we're actually in a playoff spot. Hopefully we can keep that going with the next game against LA Galaxy, but we'll talk about that later on. But let's talk about the U.S. Open Cup tournament. unfortunately for
Mm.
us, it wasn't a good taste. Didn't leave a good taste in our mouth. It was a tournament, to be honest, actually, where I felt like, man, this year, the way things are falling, that the Dynamo could have made probably a nice run, maybe to our third U.S. Open Cup trophy. Right?
Hmm.
We were matched up against St. Louis City, and to be honest, if we're being honest about the whole situation, I think we got the pick of the draw. I mean, St. Louis is bottom two in the Western Conference, but obviously, tournament soccer is a lot different than just regular season soccer. Where you're playing to survive in advance. And but unfortunately for us, I mean, look, we had a 2-1 lead going into halftime. An unfortunate penalty wretch against I forgot the player who fouled Halter. I think no, it wasn't Halter. I forgot who it was. Uh, to tie it up on PK. Dynamo had a lot of opportunities, two on top of my mind that I could think of that really could have sealed the game, and not have had them going to penalty kicks. But unfortunately, they didn't execute. They went to PKs, and we know what happened. Your thoughts on the game overall? Your thoughts on having a well, I don't want to play Monday morning quarterback with the whole PK
Right.
lineup, because obviously Getman is our best player, and if he wants to go
Right.
first, he deserves to go first, right? But I feel like
Correct.
he seemed tired, and the way he kicked that ball was like he had no power behind it. But I mean, but it is what it is. Your thoughts on the game entirety, and obviously the disappointment of being knocked out.
Yeah, it's disappointing because although I don't agree with the overall philosophy of the Dynamo gameplay, I'm talking gameplay.
Mhm.
Uh, this team is built for a knockout type tournament. I mean, it's built to defend ugly one goal leads. It's built to take you to extra time and go to PKs. um, it's frustrating because, like you said, it's a winnable match, and once you're in the semifinal of something, you kind of you're kind of in there.
Mhm.
You might be able to do something, and that was in September, right? So if you can just get through this one, then we can focus on that one in September.
Mhm.
And obviously there's pedigree uh, in this club for that tournament, so the Dynamo respect it. I respect Ben Olsen for doing that. He
Mhm.
put his best 11 on the pitch. His subs were strictly man subs. Like, hey, if someone got tired, okay, you're out, man for man. Position for position. Um, so he put his best 11, or that's Ben Olsen's best 11, to start the match, and they took this game seriously. So you got to respect that. Like you said, the Dynamo have been playing like 2 weeks, 2 weeks of 2 games per week type thing.
Yeah.
So you can see the tired legs, and really, I agree with Ben after the game, speaking about, I feel bad for the players because they gave it their all. And it's frustrating, but as a fan, that's all you can ask your club. That's all you can ask the players, for them to leave it on the pitch, leave it for the badge, and they did. We
Yeah,
can dissect it some more, but that's my overall thoughts.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of facts in what you're saying. Obviously, I think that they went up there and they battled. The unfortunate thing is, I think that they I
Beat
think the
themselves.
Dynamo are the better team. That's
Absolutely.
that's the frustrating part of it, right? I'm not doubting the fact that that obviously home field advantage helped out St. Louis, and then obviously St. Louis, basically this is their whole season they're playing for. This is basically really their only bright spot right now, with if right now in the whole season, right? Because they're bottom two at the table, and they're a few points away from being anywhere in the playoff contingency, right? So this is really what they're looking forward to.
Hmm.
Um, so I understand that from that standpoint as well. But obviously when you're on paper the better team with the better weapons and stuff like that, and obviously you're putting a full man, 100%. This is your best 11 on the pitch. You expect to do things and go up there and beat these guys. The Berkey mistake to give Borges the opening goal obviously was something where like, oh man, this could be going our way, and
Right.
it was a great omen to like, ah man, hey, I was an unfortunate the way they gave up the first goal, but then to get the goal right back like instantly was just like, oh, okay, cool. And you could see like the morale kind of fall for St. Louis a little bit because Berkey being their captain and Berkey being an all world class goalkeeper from from Dortmund and all that stuff, playing with a lot of big games, for him to make a mistake like that was just an unfortunate thing that doesn't really happen.
Right.
So it was kind of crazy to see, and then obviously at the end of the game when the things the score is 2-2, and then and Ollie picks up the red card, after on a simple kind of really like, come on, really, that's what we're calling, that's what we're gonna give him a second yellow for that. It's kind of disappointing on the refs end to where like um that's one of the sour tastes left in our mouths as far as like like, man, like, did he really need to be sent off? Because obviously, had he not been, I think Inali would have been one of our, PK takers, right? Um, but obviously, again, things in hindsight, Dynamo could have done a lot better. Linger had an open opportunity to score. Really, he beat the goalie, and then the defender just came out of nowhere and really just stretched his leg out, and it was able to block his shot. But I think in a situation like that with a player like Linger, you should have scored. But again, what can we say? I mean, none of our forwards are scoring. If your name's not Guillermo, nobody's scoring the ball, fortunately, and that's the that's kind of seems to be the memo of this season for the Dynamo, and hopefully with this World Cup break coming, we can figure that out, and these guys can find their scoring boots because we need these guys to start scoring. We need Ponte to start scoring. We need Borges to start scoring. We need Linger to start scoring. It's not, I know people like to shit on Ponce, but it's not just him anymore. It's Borges and it's Linger as well. Linger's been given an opportunity, and he hasn't taken advantage of the opportunities that Ben has given him. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Let me ask you this. I was thinking about this watching the PKs and obviously watching how bad Bond looked defending those PKs. And I remember opening the season when I looked at the lineup and I looked at the starting 11, before anything occurred, right? My thoughts was like, man, you know what? Our weakest spot might be goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, Bond has had the fortunate event of having a lot of clean sheets, a lot of 1-0 wins. So obviously, obviously he's done great in some games, and he's done really, really crappy in others. And it's not, you can't, sometimes it can't, it's not really up against him. It's the defense as well letting him down. But what are your thoughts on Jonathan Bond as our goalkeeper up to this point? And do you think that that's a spot that the Dynamo can improve on?
Yeah, it's a interesting question. I think Bond is a solid goalkeeper uh, in gameplay, but what you're talking about is the penalty shootout. And we kind of haven't had a goalkeeper that can take over a penalty shootout, if you will, um, or make a critical save. How about that? Not take over, but make a critical save. I mean,
Probably since like Tally Hall or something like that.
right. Recently, in recent memory,
Okay.
Steve
Steve
Clark,
Clark was in it.
short, yeah, and then Bond has good sides. It's just it couldn't make a save last night
Yeah.
or the other night. Um, I think he's a solid goalkeeper, though, man. He has the size.
Mhm.
I think he's solid. It just unfortunately he couldn't make a save.
Yeah, and obviously I hate to kick somebody while they're down, but it's obviously something that, obviously PKs don't happen on a freaking basis, right? And
Right.
obviously this being the only cup tournament that we're playing this year, this is really the only opportunity that we're probably going to see a PK shootout, right? Unless we make it to the playoffs and we need PKs to determine a victor, right? But obviously, it's just one of those things where, like, yeah, obviously, I don't think Bond is a horrible goalkeeper. I think he's really the when you see the word average in the dictionary, there's a picture of Jonathan Bond. He's really the standard, like the middle. Like out of the 30 teams or however 30 teams that we have, he's number 15. As far
Right.
as goalkeeper, right? Somewhere in that range. So I mean, he's not like outstanding, or he doesn't do anything like crazy that's like, oh man, this guy's top notch, or he's world class or whatever. But he does what he needs to do to be efficient goalkeeper, and obviously he's helped out us a lot. And obviously we're not in the place on the table with that we are right now currently without him. So, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I mean it's just like obviously in MLS play, penalties get called. Refs sometimes are not the best at their duties and might cause penalties. And sometimes penalties can cost you games. And you want to know that you have a goalkeeper who's at least capable to save a PK from time to time. If need
Yeah.
be. And it just so happened this for me when I was watching that he was just getting beat so bad, and I was like, ah,
Yeah.
you know,
He doesn't give you confidence that he's gonna save one.
yeah. Um, any
Which I
thoughts
agree
on the?
with. I agree
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. Any thoughts on like I mentioned earlier, like the Guillermo taking the first PK, knowing he ran the whole 120 minutes, being tired, and then obviously Ache having to take a PK. This is like the back. I think this is his first PK since the one he missed in the playoffs. That I forgot what was the first. What was the other one he missed that cost us a game or something, or was it in the League Cup? Or I forgot which one it was. But I think it was his first PK taken as a Dynamo player since the last one where he missed as well.
Yeah. Ache missing, there's no excuse for that one, right?
Yeah,
Um, Guillerme, you can make the excuse of, that he's been running all game, but he's my best player.
yeah,
I want him to take the first one to kind of give us that 1-0 lead.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree, and especially if he wants to take the first one, obviously I can't. I'm giving it to him. I think in my mindset, like I said, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking now because obviously that's
Mm-hmm.
what the result
Mm-hmm.
was. I think I would have loved to see him probably just take a little bit of a rest. Hey, catch your breath a little bit. You've been running the whole game. You can have the second or third shot, whatever, blah blah blah, and maybe send um I don't even know who went second, Dwayne Holmes up there or whatever. But then obviously Dwayne Holmes is a goal player who just came off the bench. Is he the right one? Blah blah blah. Obviously it's tough. It's tough to make your PK lineup, and a lot of different managers have a lot of different ways of doing it. Some people let the players choose it amongst themselves. Like hey, and some players say, hey, I want the ball and let me go first or whatever. So, well, obviously we don't know how the process, what the process is, and how that was determined. But obviously, unfortunately for Guillermo, he missed that PK to start off with, and then obviously Hector missed it, and that was basically it for the Dynamo, and that's what knocked us out of the U.S. Open Cup. Anything else about the U.S. Open Cup that you want to talk about or this game?
Yeah, no, we talked about Enali's red. I personally believe they got that second yellow call wrong, but it was the end of the game anyways. It didn't affect the game. It's not like it was in the second half. It's like minute 112. So it's you're already tired by that point anyways.
Yeah.
But what I did want to talk about is like there was a play where Boisat got stepped on, and that could have
Mm.
been dangerous play in a red, and that could have shifted the game.
Yeah,
Um,
I know exactly what play you're talking about, and to see that just being not being called, and then to
not
see
even a yellow.
not even a yellow because that would have been that player's second yellow.
Hmm.
And then to see Inali get a second yellow for literally putting himself in position to block the player to to gain possession. He wasn't doing anything that was over exaggerated as far as like throwing his body around. Like that's what you do. You throw your body in front of the player to get possession of the ball.
Yeah.
But like I said, the ref saw it different, and then he saw it as obviously being over dramatic as far as trying to get the ball back and all that stuff, and gave him that second yellow. So yeah, I think the refereeing was a bit on the below average side, but it's just one of those things where like obviously because we follow the Dynamo so closely, and we're there at the games and we're watching it on TV, it feels like every other game the refs are fucking us or screwing
Right.
us up, And it's just that it's just that's the overall um, tone around the league as far as with the refs. I don't know what the process is, and I don't know if there needs to be something done with the refereeing union that there needs to be a little bit of a like, hey, we need to be a little bit more stricter as far as certain things, or if you make a mistake, what are the repercussions of making mistakes or whatever, blah blah blah. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
that that's something that has to be done with referee, but I'm not sure what the solution there can be.
I got you. And the other thing about this game is, yes, St. Louis gave us an easy score to equalize, but we just beat ourselves, man. Like the first goal was a distraction, failed to clear that properly and landed St. Louis attacker in the box. They took advantage of it, and then the PK coming out of halftime with a lead, and you give up a PK. Um, it just unfortunate. You hit the crossbar. I believe Guillermo with a free kick, and then Lingard had a 1v1.
Hmm.
You know, and it's just you got to put those away. We just beat ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
a lot of missed opportunities and some mistakes that St. Louis capitalized on. They didn't have momentum. You gave it to them, and hate to see it because this was realistic for us.
Yeah, man, and it's just like for me, the reason why I prioritize the U.S. Open Cup more than other fans do or whatever, not just because we can lift a trophy and stuff like that. Yes, it's great to lift a trophy and all that good stuff, but the Champions Cup qualification that it gives us,
Yeah,
because we're not in the League's Cup, so we're not going to get that opportunity to
right.
go after one of the top three spots to get there. Unless we win the Supporter Shield, which I don't think that's happening this year. We're not
Hmm.
going to get a qualification there unless we win the MLS Cup, which unless something happens dramatic over the summer or we get some type of big playing sign. I don't know if that's happening this year. I mean, I would love to be proved wrong, right? And then depending on the seating, as far as like the best the at large bids after all the other spots have been given up, and depending on the teams who've garnered multiple champion cup spots, I start trickling down to the next best team. I don't know. That's why we gotta move up the table as high as we can, right?
Yeah,
But for me, the recognition of going into these international tournaments is what I want for the Dynamo. What as a fan, as a supporter, I want to see more of. I want them to
correct.
I want them to be constantly involved in the Champions Cup and La Copa Libertadores if that thing comes true, or Copa Sudamericana or whatever other tournament that's available to the Dynamo internationally that can bring eyes to the Dynamo as a franchise and as a club. I want that for my team, you know.
Correct.
Um, so that's why I put a lot of focus on the U.S. Open Cup. That's why I hate the years where we get beat by Detroit City or we get knocked out
Yes.
in penalties by by Austin or we get beat by Austin, whatever. I hate that shit. But this match, unfortunately, I can't really say anything else besides the fact that we shot ourselves in the foot. We had a great opportunity to win at St. Louis and move on. It would have been against Colorado. We would have gone up in Colorado in September, and obviously between now and then, maybe we see Colorado a little bit different than what we saw them last time when we went up into Colorado. But hey, it is what it is. Congratulations to St. Louis. Hopefully they make a deep run and they lift the trophy up since they knocked us out. But with that being said, man, obviously, like I said, we're one game away from the World Cup break, and we will be playing none other than our quote unquote big brother, LA Galaxy, this Saturday at LA and at their is it still StubHub Center? No, Dignity Park Start Dignity Sparks Sports Park. Sorry about that.
I wouldn't have guessed that, bro. I still call it Home Depot Center.
Oh, there you go. Um, LA Galaxy, obviously still missing their high profile player in Wiki Puig, but they still have other players that are capable and determined. And Marcos Ruiz, who obviously we know what kind of player he is. Gabriel Peck, who obviously we've known since he's come into MLS, has been a double-digit goal scorer every season he's been there, and others as well. We got word, or we got information that this game is special to Apple TV because this game is going to be shot with the iPhone 17. I don't know how that works. I'm me myself. I'm not an iPhone user. Android for life. I don't care about the green or blue or red bubbles, whatever kind of bubbles. Hey, you guys can keep getting these bubbles. It's going to be an interesting thing, man. But your thoughts on the game against the Galaxy? Do you think the Dynamo can end this first half of the season with a bang and maybe move up a couple notches in the conference table,
I
and
I
lose the
hope so,
positivity?
bro. I hope I'm wrong, but this is a classic trap game. I feel like the Dynamo are tired, especially after the elimination. They
Mhm.
just want to go on break, you know? It's like the last day before school ends and you're ready for summer break.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I, away game as well. These cats are fatigued, dude. I mean, I
yeah,
hope I'm wrong, and I hope we get, like you said, a positive result on the road. But
mm,
they're tired, dude. They're mentally drained,
yeah,
especially after the result in the Open Cup.
yeah. Because I mean, look, the Galaxy right now are currently in ninth place with 19 points, and we're currently in sixth with 21 points, and Seattle's in fourth with 24 points, right? So like
Right.
we're all bunched up together. So a win can make us look at this first half of the season in a positive light, where we can quite possibly end up in a top four position. Where there's times in this season that I thought, shoot, are we even going to be able to make it to the play-in? You know, but
Yes,
but
sir.
like I said, somehow, some way they've maneuvered and they're in playoff positioning. But by winning against the Galaxy, does can do really great things as far as looking forward to this break, taking advantage of this break, and then recuperating, recalibrating their batteries, and then, like I said, hopefully over this World Cup break, they can figure out what the hell is going on with Borgus, what's going on with Ponce, Linger, all these guys, and we can get them scoring the ball.
Hmm.
But if they lose, LA Galaxy moves in front of the Dynamo points wise. They'll have 22 points and we'll have 21. And then depending on the results of other matches, we can fall back a lot because there's a lot of teams that are just basically 1 point or the same point matches as what we have currently. So, you know, even though I understand the analogy that you just gave, this is like the day before the last day of school. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go jump in the pool and do whatever. Like
Hmm.
we still need to have the mentality of, hey, we need to go get all these points that we can because there's a lot of points that we let go at the beginning of the season, and we need to recoup. We can take off as soon as this game is over. We can go do whatever the hell we want to go do because we don't have to play another match for another month, but we need to take care of business in LA. We need to beat LA. Hashtag beat LA.
Yeah. And that needs to be the message Ben Olsen is driving this week, right? Um, what would you ask Ben Olsen ahead of this match tomorrow? I mean, ahead of Saturday's match.
Dude, I would just ask for just focus. This, the beginning of the season, I was told this is a team full of captains. You
Yeah.
know, when you're a captain, you're held to a different standard than just being the regular player.
Yeah.
That means that you're a leader of men. People listen to you. People demand your respect. You know, and if that's the case, this is the game where I need to see this. I need to see the defense on point. I need to see whoever's in the midfield doing their thing. I need to see the front three, whoever it is, to start scoring goals aside from Guillermo. I mean, don't get me wrong. If Guillermo scores a hat trick, hey, more power to him. But I would like for everybody else to get involved as well. and join the party, you know. But my focus and my word to the players would be, guys, we're a professional club. We pride ourselves and being professionals and playing with this crest and playing with the city of Houston on our backs. And right now, we have the potential of doing something and ending this first half of the season on a high note after an unfortunate loss and unfortunately knockout of the U.S. Open Cup. But this MLS season, there's nothing else for us. There's nothing else. This is our sole purpose, our sole focus right now throughout the rest of the season. We need to end with a bang.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. That needs to be the message. That needs to be the mindset going to
Yeah.
California this weekend.
I feel like we need to. I feel like we need to be aggressive. We need to put a foot on your neck and then just step on it.
Agreed. They have to.
Any thoughts as far as I'm gonna ask predictions. Your predictions on this game. Your thoughts, your scores,
I
and
think
who's
it'll be 1-1, dude. I think it'll be a draw on the road.
anticlimactic.
Yeah.
After all that, you anticlimactic. Come on.
After that speech, okay, you motivated me from a loss on the road to a draw.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Road points are golden points. So,
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
so you said 1-1.
Yeah.
Who scores your goal?
Oh man, since we're just bullshitting on a Dynamo podcast, I mean, I gotta give it to Ponce. If your motto for this game is one game helps us erase the bad of this first half and helps us look forward to the second half of the season, I need Ponce before we
Man.
go on break to get one. That man needs it. Like
Ah,
that man
Man.
needs a goal like I need water in a desert. That
dude,
means needs a goal like I need oxygen to live, bro.
did you see how happy he was when
He
he scored
was,
that?
bro. I felt so bad.
When he
I
scored
felt so
that goal and
bad.
they called it back, dude. I was like, dude, I was like, when he scored it, I jumped out I was happy, bro. And I didn't even see it was offside, dude. And then when he saw it, he's like, man, he had the face of like, dude, what the fuck do I have to do to score a goal here?
I felt so bad.
I saw that face and I'm like, dude, he has the face of like somebody like, dude, I did what you told me to do and I did it, and I'm still not getting credit for it. The
Right.
fuck, which is it's so crazy to me, like, because dude, to be honest, look, man, I read all the Ponce hate. I see all the negativity that's going on in him. I
It's
understand.
exaggerated, bro.
I
It's
understand. I
exaggerated.
understand where the fan base is coming from because
Yes.
we paid so much and blah blah blah. And obviously the prior season and a half, he had no services, but he was still able to make it happen. And now that he has quote unquote some better players around him to service in the ball, he hasn't scored at least. He hasn't even scored at all.
But is he getting service though?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Guillermo and Bogus are individual, like they're
creating
individual
their own
playmakers.
shots.
They're creative. Exactly. There's not. I'm disappointed in that sense that there's no team passing team.
Yeah.
If you analyze our goals in the Open Cup. Long shot from Arthur that really should have been saved, and then that giveaway, and that's how you know this dude is in a dry spell because he presses all game, and then Bogus gets the open net.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and to be honest, like I feel like obviously Bodegas had that game-winning goal against the Timbers. He's had a couple of goals in U.S. Open Cup, and things like that. But he's on the same boat as Ponce, to be honest, in my opinion. Like Yerman and Ali have created chances for themselves, and that's why they scored the goals, and that's why they're 1 and 2 as far as goal scoring leaders on our team. But Borges hasn't done it. Ponce is not getting any service, as you mentioned. It's not like the guys are looking to pass it towards him. If it's not McGlynn or Hector Herrera crossing the ball, Guilherme or Borges are not crossing the ball in, you know,
That, that
and that's an unfortunate thing. Like, you know, like I said, it's just it's another thing where like he has to look for rebounds and try to try to be a poacher. And unfortunately, when he gets the opportunity, he you know somebody gets in the way, or somebody or he kicks it directly to the goalkeeper, or it gets called offside. You know, and it's just,
you
man.
you hit it right on the nail, bro. Uh, the team does not create open play opportunities. That's why I hate when they justify their attack with, oh, shots. Bro, half of them were outside the box. You weren't creating opportunities. You're just randomly shooting because you can't do anything, you know?
Yeah.
Your goals are coming from individuals who can create on their own. You didn't have that last year. Now you do. But the real point here is what you said. If it's not Ache or if it's not McGlynn who are trying to push that play forward, there's no offense on this team. It's counterattacking football. The
Yeah.
RSL game is the best example. They sub off McGlynn at halftime because we're rotating minutes. Night and day. Like you were dominating that first half, you were creating opportunities. Second half comes, unclear, disorganized. It's like painful to watch, dude.
Yeah.
Like glass in my eyes, type thing.
No, yeah.
That's what I'm most frustrated about.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, look, it's gonna be a long break. You're gonna have games against Olympia and Cali de America, and stuff like that. So I mean, hopefully somewhere, like I said, in this training and this and in these preseason. I mean, it's not preseason, but like in these breaks,
It's a
they can
second
figure
preseason.
they can figure it out, and they can make it happen. But like I said, I'm with you. I hope that Ponce can find the back of the net in this LA Galaxy game, and it can help us uh, with a tie, or even better with a win. Because like I said, I think if to be honest, I think if they're somehow able to get Ponce going, I think the Dynamo team could be. I think this Dynamo team currently, not without, not even without adding anybody in the summer window, right, or anything like that. I think if they're able to unlock Ponce, Dynamo can move up to be like a dark horse, you know, contender.
The,
No,
the talent is here, dude.
for sure they're a playoff team, but I think they could be a dark horse MLS Cup contender if they can get Ponce going. But
They
like I said,
have talent.
they
They
have
have
talent,
talent.
but like I said, but that's a big right now because of that little rock on his shoulder. That shit is a fucking boulder now because of how because of dude. I mean, it's crazy to me because I think Ponce is talented.
Yeah.
I think to be, and in all honesty, like Ponte is the right striker for the system that you're
Right.
trying to play, but for some reason the ball just is not falling to him, and he's
Right.
having these issues. But but yeah, man, if they can unlock him and have him scoring on a constant basis, I think the Dynamo can be a dark horse MLS Cup contender. But that's a big if that we're asking now because obviously
Right.
struggles he's had. My prediction for the LA Galaxy game, man, I want to be optimistic, man, because I mean, like I said, look, we just beat Vancouver at home. What was the other team that we just beat? LAFC. We beat up on those guys as well. So I want to be optimistic with this MLS Cup season because we're not going to have any Leagues Cup. There's nothing else in front of us. It's just the MLS season, and that's it. We don't have to worry about anything else besides
Yeah.
winning our MLS regular season games to get to the playoffs. So I think that the Dynamo want to end this first half with a bang, and I'm going to be optimistic. And I'm going to say 3-2 Dynamo.
Damn.
Yeah,
That'd be cool. That'd be
yeah,
cool. Saturday night, Gold
yeah,
Fest.
yeah. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a nice offensive output. Obviously, I know that LA Galaxy have talent on that side, and they're going to be looking to move up the table as well. And you know that the Galaxy are obviously going to try to make moves in the summer transfer window to propel them up the table as well. You know, but I think that the Dynamo have their own mission as well, and I think that they know that they for them to be in the spot they're in right now, it's obviously they've grinded it out. So let's grind even harder and let's try to get a top four spot before the end of this first half. You know, so I think the Dynamo can do it, and I want them to prove to me that I'm right to be riding them, dude. Because I hate the fact that every time that it seems like they're on the cusp of turning the corner and becoming better than what we thought they are, they fall back, they tumble, they
Yeah.
fall back.
So
Yeah, they fall
it's a
back.
roller coaster.
Yeah, so I want them to show me that this team is for real. You know,
Yeah.
like
And
hey,
I'll tell you who's for real though, man. We got some live viewers on YouTube, dude. So shout
nice.
out to our guys JP Dynamo, and we got Tigres Gamer, which is our one of our colleagues, Selvin.
Elvin, what's going
Uh,
on, Papa?
yeah, JP Dynamo. I don't know who he's talking about, but he said can't cross the ball when he's not in the box crashing it.
I
Who's
think he's
that,
talking
bro?
about Ponte or whatever.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, guys, obviously we appreciate you, being on the chat, being on here with us live and stuff like that. All that good stuff. But Herman, dude, thank you for hopping on with me today.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully this is the first of many. And obviously I look forward to returning the favor for you on your podcast. Let the people know about the Dinamico and all that stuff, and the only Spanish
That's
podcast
right.
for the Houston Dynamo. Let them know.
That's right. So you can follow me at El Dinamico _GB. Like I said, I am a beat reporter for Foxtrot Media, and I am the host of the only Spanish podcast for your Houston Dynamo, Dinamico.
Woo! Awesome, awesome. Shout out to OSG, Andres, and all the other guys on Foxtrot Media. Guys, for always being there for us and always helping us out with whatever we got to do. Guys, obviously I'm not gonna do it as well as Andres, but obviously you can follow us on YouTube on Foxtrot TV. You can follow us on Twitter at Dynamic Foxtrot and all that good stuff. You can follow me at Ches Segovia. Like I said, Herman said at Dinamico _GB. That's where you can follow him and all his stuff. And dude, look up that interview he had with Arthur and Guillermo, man. It was a great time. It was some good questions. And man, we're looking forward to a lot more of those and all that stuff. Fox in the Box, Sylvie, appreciate you. The articles and all that good stuff, all the written stuff for Foxtrot Media. Well, with that being said, guys, look, one more game before the World Cup break. The way I see it, the only way to go out is to go out on top. I want to see us beat LA. I want to see us move up higher in the table, and I think that's possible. I think that Ponce can come alive. I think that Borges can find it, and obviously I think Guillermo can be an MLS All Star for us. Since we haven't had one in for however long. But with that being said, whether we're up or down, we're always going to hold it down for H-Town. Let's go Dynamo. Let's get it done, guys. And I look forward to seeing y'all next week after the LA Galaxy game and all that good stuff. Stay noodle, as Andres would say.